Well, what's the crack? And welcome to the second episode of the Proud Craic Podcast with me, Damien McCaul. Pronouns he, him, proud, cisgendered Irish man. Here, it's Jenny. Jenny, who are you?
Hi, I'm Jenny Deane. I'm an organiser of Newry Pride, and my pronouns are she, her, and I'm happy to be here. So thank you, Damien, for having me back.
You're very welcome. We didn't get too many complaints, so I thought we'll take the risk. So that's us, and we're really excited to be talking to you a lot more about the Proud Craic and getting to know each of us a bit more. And for those of you that are listening rather than watching the podcast, just to give you an idea of what we look like, I am wearing a black t-shirt with a holographic logo on it with the words "Proud Every Day" in rainbow colours. And Jenny?
I am wearing a black Newry Pride 2024 t-shirt with the Progress Pride flag on it in the shape of the island of Ireland, because we are very proud here in Ireland.
We are very proud indeed, yes. And I think you'd agree we both look fabulous as well. So
Yes, colourful.
indeed. Well, as you can see, we're very subtle with the setting, so had to bring some colour into the t-shirt. So again, those of you that doesn't make any sense, check us out on YouTube so you see what we're talking about. So yes, that's us. That's why we're here. So I think we should get cracking. What do you think, Jenny? Fantastic. So what actually is the crack with you?
The crack is 90, as always, with me. Yeah, it's all good.
Fantastic. And Crack's 90 with me as well, so we're off to a good start. And what is making you proud these days?
I am being made proud by the enthusiasm of people for Newry Pride. At the minute, we're working. Me and my team are working on getting things organised, and we've had a few ups and downs. But at the minute, we're seeing a lot of energy and effort, and that's lovely, and it makes me proud of my town and of the people that I know.
Aw.
Admin and all.
That's always in the background. And to kind of take your lead there, I'm also very proud of Newry and of ourselves and what we're doing. But to congratulate myself, I'm actually proud of doing this podcast. Now, now I'm at second episode, and thank you very much. Yes, a good guest always helps. But yeah, no, thank you. Because I've been wanting to do this here for a very, very, very long time, and for it to actually be happening, yeah, I'm giving myself a pat on the back. Well done, me. Oh, thank you very much. So yeah, so before we did the recording, there was something else that you shared with me that you're proud of at the moment. Do you want to share with our audience what that is?
Well, I have this little notebook I was showing you that says totally gay stuff up front. And then my mum bought me this. And my mum, whenever I first came out many, many years ago, my mum was a bit uncertain. Let's say,
I know the feeling.
A bit of a religious background. And that I think there's a lot of that in Ireland. This sort of growing up in the 80s and 90s for me was very repressive, and people didn't talk about these sort of things. So my mom's come on a journey from being like a wee bit hostile about everything and not very accepting to now buying me little gay notebooks, and she'll have me and my girlfriend over for dinner, and we get on really well. Several bottles of wine later, everybody's having great crack. So I'm proud of that journey that that she's gone on, and generally that people can go on, from kind of struggling to either come out or struggling to accept people in their lives that have come out to like really embracing it, and sometimes going even coming to Pride with them, and really getting into the crack.
Yeah, 100%. I made a reference to Claire from Steps being on the last big Pride, and
Newry Pride 2019.
very good. Oh, not you remember? Core memory.
Not even my favorite kind of music, but Newry doesn't get a lot of that.
And this is it. The reason I mention it is because my mum was with me while I was watching Claire for Steps in my hometown Pride. So
Accepting when you first came out.
she didn't reject me. However, it was a challenge, and I do think that there was a religious aspect to it as well.
A lot of that, like
Yeah.
ingrained in them, really. So people kind of coming out, and I just any other way of life than the default that they were taught was it has to be like this. There's no other way of doing things. Was a shock or something that we're like afraid of. But over the years, that's totally changed, thankfully, with for a lot of people and just society in general here. I think we've come on.
100%. And actually, part of that is, I think, part of what my mum was worried about was actually me and my safety and the culture we were going and society. And exactly, yes, 100%. So I think it's wonderful that we're both examples of, like, you can be queer and still live a fulfilling life. And in fact, yeah, be fabulous and doing this type of
I
stuff.
would be miserable not being able to embrace myself or to
Yeah.
like. I just can't imagine having had to stay in the closet or like tiptoe around it because being proud is great crack.
It is great crack. Yeah. um, and that's a lovely segue because this podcast is specifically about Newry Pride because Newry, sorry, I'll call you Newry there. I was very proud. Jenny is here representing Newry Pride. And what we're going to do now is, as we've heard about in the first episode, we heard all about Newry Pride, and we'll come back to that at the end of this episode. But we're going to focus on what we teased in the last episode, which was to find out a little bit more about Jenny and myself. And we teed up a segment that I'm proud to call Craic Community. Said that wrong. Craic Craic cultural recommendations. So to set us off on our very first ever Craic cultural recommendation, Jenny, what do you recommend?
Well, if you're in Newry, I would recommend checking out LGBT Women's Group Newry and the Newry Pride social media pages because you'll find out about everything that's happening in the LGBT sector there. And I would recommend coming to some of our events. So we have a big gay disco that we discussed a wee bit on the last episode
Mhm.
as well. So, and just different pop up gay events. There's not really a lot else happening in Newry in gay cultural but we've got some fab drag queens here, like Auntie Marie and Valencia Bliss. Yeah, there's a Newry is kind of growing in this LGBT sector, so you may need to go to Belfast if you want more kind of constant, like
Like regular events and
Street,
things.
Maverick, Boombox,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gremlin. I mean, there's a lot more going on there, and a lot more gay culture to soak up. What would you think?
So yes, I do recommend going to do all those things. And also a nice plug for
Thank you, John.
well, the thing is, this podcast is going to be heard hopefully not just in Pride time, but at other times of the year. So
Yeah,
it's good to know
yeah,
that
still be running and
exactly.
hopefully there'll be things to go to. So
Yeah. Um, And again, my new favorite line is nice segue because we may be going through Pride season at the moment. However, one of my recommendations is the movie Pride. Yeah, which you can watch anytime. But yeah, I would really recommend watching it now to give people a bit of background to, especially the UK and Irish scene when it comes to the history of Pride. Where do we start?
oh, did you mean the movie?
Yeah.
I thought you meant the concept of like Dublin Pride, Belfast Pride, just Pride in general.
No.
Okay.
Right, okay.
So you have recently England
Scotland.
from Scotland, sorry. And like have you seen much of kind of LGBT culture here since you came back and what have you thought of it?
Short answer, no. um,
So
so the second answer then is yes, as in I have seen some LGBTQ culture here locally and up in Belfast. Belfast just briefly, just went to some of the bars up there. And it was weird because when I was in particular scenes, whether it be in Edinburgh, Glasgow, Manchester, or Belfast or Dublin, I don't think I appreciated the fact that you have queer spaces. Whereas being back home and not really having a queer space and then going to a queer space up in Belfast, or in the next event, which I was going to tell you about, which was the Big Gay Night Out, or the Velvet Night
Yeah.
in Bellini's, which we referred to in the first episode. Um,
Sort of pop-up queer space because we don't have any fixed spaces, and
exactly.
that's a long-term dream for us, or goal that we are sort of working towards. But it's expensive, and
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you can make it happen, it'd be great because I had a newfound appreciation for it, and it's not necessarily that I found that where I live is homophobic or non-accepting. It's just that there are certain pockets of it, and it was just nice to just feel like I can be truly myself around other queer
yeah, it
people.
takes away that
Mhm.
uncertainty. I think of like as much as Newry, it has both. You know, you have a bit of the homophobia still exists here, and then there's lots of acceptance, and there's lots of places that you could be very comfortably, you know, in a gay relationship, and nobody will bother you, and you know, you can be freely yourself, but you don't really know. You know, there's no overt signs to say, hey, we're queer friendly.
Yeah,
Like we're not queer friendly. So as an outsider or someone, you know, new coming here, there's no queer space to first go into and kind of find all this out. Like you're very much you're kind of on your own, and it's not like just having a queer designated space is very, I think, a big kind of relief, and it's a good social aspect because you don't have to worry like, am I okay here, am I not? It's very much like, yes you are,
yeah.
you know. And then
Yeah, because I think bar pride, which everybody has an acceptance and understanding of, oh, this is where, everybody can be themselves and
mhm,
as outspoken as they want and just be themselves, which again is another weird thing that, I automatically think that, oh, you have to be outspoken or you just be yourself. However, we could do a whole separate episode on pride protest and celebration and
yeah,
in between and what should we do. um, but there is a general acceptance to that. However, then when you do get, as you say, like a pop up, and people are like, oh, there's a gay thing on, oh, outside of Pride, oh, but this is Newry, this is and
to be a shock. Like
I
it's
exactly,
we're designated as a city, and I think if you want to really live up to your status as a city, have you need gay nights. You need to like cater to more than the one sort of default cultural setting.
hmm
Like um and there's a lot of people that I feel like get lost without that, because if you live in the, you know, out in the sticks or the outskirts of the city, and it's very hard to meet people. It's very hard to find, you know, friends, relationships, people to relate to, and these things that are so important for your kind of social and mental health. And it can be very isolating. And if you don't have queer spaces, like, I mean, a victim of it as well in my life, of just like kind of drifting alone in the wilderness for like years on end or something. And the only way that you kind of come out of that is to be able to like have the balls to maybe go to an event or a gay space and be like, hi, like, and try to make friends.
yeah,
And you need those spaces to create that possibility for.
yeah, and it's so unusual, and I hate when people go, oh, we don't need Pride anymore.
Yeah, we do. Like, I mean,
Mm,
I see it as a
mm,
pride organizer. Like, at first I don't know, you're like, I would love to not need pride anymore in a way. I mean, for it just to be like a celebration. But I think that people need it for so many reasons. And the backlash we get to Pride, like sometimes we'll do an advertisement for a Pride parade registration or something, and the homophobic abuse in the comments section, you know, the little things that we try to do to like kind of promote our LGBT events and spaces attract so much criticism that I'm like, you're just really demonstrating here why we have such a big need for Pride, because clearly this is not a completely safe space, and this
mhm.
is not a place that is free of homophobia, and it's not accepting, and it's not tolerant in many ways. And in order to counteract all that negativity that we see, you have to have the pride events. Like, you have to show people that it's safe and it's accepting. And
Yep,
that's not the norm. That's not what, like, that's not really what everybody thinks. Because if you just went on to the comment section of, you know, a pride ad, you would think like the world is a very negative place to be a gay
yeah,
person, and that's
yeah.
not the case. So
So it's wonderful then that you're doing what you're doing, because we're not in that blue sky of where there isn't a need for pride. Um, and as much as I always want to celebrate being myself, accepted as a start, that would be nice, yeah. So I don't necessarily think the stereotype of people just like flaunting who they are is necessarily a thing.
People talk about flaunting and as if it's really in your face, and they talk about this like in your face, but actually, I'm nowhere near you. Maybe I'm wearing a pride bracelet, and that's not in your face. That's me sitting wearing a t-shirt or like very subtly sort of representing myself and what it does for people around me. Like there's an ad, I think it was for the Finnish
Yeah,
train
so it,
service or
yeah,
something, but Finland Pride, I don't know, but somebody just wearing a wee bracelet and like how comfortable it made someone else feel because feel they feel less threatened
yeah.
because they know that they're in a safe space. And it's I don't know, like I find it hard to digest people's like aversion to somebody wearing a jersey of the football team that they like they make friends because other people that support that team will chat to them in
Hmm.
the same way that if you're wearing a pride t-shirt, like you find your tribe, and there are
Yeah.
little like ways to do that that are harming nobody.
Yeah, 100%. And it's a really good example of allyship as well.
Yeah.
Because what I find is wonderful, especially with any parades that are going for Pride, wherever they are in the UK, Ireland, or the world, there's so much allyship, to the point where I briefly mentioned to you on the last episode, before recording, that my mum and her gardening group, Green Spaces, are going to be walking. Now, you could be looking at that as in like, well, my mum's a proud mother of a gay son,
Yeah.
um, or she's an ally, or she's both. But I don't see the harm in, or it could be neither. Exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, I mean,
Oh, a
but
leader. Yeah.
showing
Yeah.
that allyship is important, and I feel like maybe, and I not like I feel like there's some truth in it, maybe in the past. I don't know. I hear a lot of pride organizations sometimes shouting about non-gays invading gay spaces or something, and like I feel like we want the non-gays at Pride and, to be supporting gay spaces as well. And we don't want to scare them away and make this seem like, oh, you have to be gay to support Pride. You don't, like, we don't want that. Like, and
Yeah.
there's an argument against corporations taking part in Pride or businesses. And, like, I want to see businesses saying, hi, we're a safe space and like we welcome our LGBT colleagues. And I think that's so important. So
Yeah.
welcome all the allies, like come and march. And it sets an example for other people who are maybe unsure of whether they can find acceptance within themselves, can look and see, well, there, she was in my class at school and, we had the same upbringing and there she's embracing her gay family member, and maybe it's okay for me to do that too, and we're not all going to be punished by the priests or some ridiculous nonsense that's been fed over the years that it's
Yeah.
a mortal sin to support gay people, that's kind of thrown away, and allies help other allies to exist.
100%. And that visibility is so powerful. And you give some fantastic examples of it. So, yeah, I don't think we were going to go that deep in that. And actually, and no, don't apologize. I enjoyed that crack.
Important to get to the good crack by sometimes you have to go through the stressful crack or the deep crack to get to the lighthearted. Now we can laugh about it.
Yeah, so we'll come out of the deep crack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What are your cultural recommendations?
So my cultural recommendation, and I'm not just saying this because of the theme of our podcast, is a film called Pride. So it is good, yes. I'm sure you've seen it many times, as I have, because it is just beautiful. It's outstanding. It's just a really heartwarming, thought provoking.
Thought it really portrayed lesbians very well as well. It
Excellent.
was funny,
Yeah.
like that was good.
Yes, there was a bit in it where one of the older ladies was going to find the gays later, and she's like, "Where are my lesbians?"
And the bit where she goes, it's like, I just want to ask you something about and as if you're waiting for something really inappropriate to be
Yeah,
asked
yeah.
about, because we can ask a lot of inappropriate questions, and then she's asked, are they all actually vegetarians? And like, well, a lot are. Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, it's good. And you're right. It was from a serious material, because the whole part of the whole background to it is Mark Ashton, who was from Portrush. Apparently, he was born somewhere else, but he was brought up in Portrush. Now I'm going to be talking about him in another episode of some of our Pride heroes. So do check that one out in the future. But you're right, though, Jenny. He was brought up in Portrush, and he went over to London, and he brought about a real cultural change where he joined with the Gay is the Word. Is that the right name of the bookshop? The bookshop that was in London? So there's a bookshop in London. When he joined them, they got together and they were looking for another community that was getting discriminated against because it was in Thatcherite 80s. And there was a lot of discrimination, especially for queer people. And the coal miners were getting very much discriminated against. So they decided to, okay, well, let's help some groups of coal miners. So they went to this lovely little village, random place in Wales. And without giving the whole plot away, through solidarity, through what else would you say? Through
Activism, but
Mhm.
that it was very, and there's a lot of that I think in the LGBTQ community because you have to kind of protest a bit and you get active. I think, or in I don't know, but there's allyship there. I think it's in your bones after a while, like, and you start to help other groups that need that allyship because you know how important it is.
100%. And it really bonds people in that sense of humanity. Um,
Collective action that actually works. But
100%. And through that collective action, then there's a really beautiful scene towards the end of the movie when they all get together and some of those lines that we just talked about came out as well. Came out, another pun. Very good. So, my Kraken cultural recommendation is the Pride movie. Most recently, I checked it out. I think you can get it online, but it's no longer on iPlayer or Netflix, but it is definitely available. So, yes, I recommend that. So, what about yourself, Jenny? Then, what's your cracking cultural recommendation?
cultural recommendation, movie wise or TV. I'm going to give you a TV show at the minute
Okay.
called The Queer Ultimatum. Um,
Mm.
that I think there is like a male and female one. I'm not sure, but okay, Queer Ultimatum. And it is just a really car crash TV. I've heard it described as, and it is that like you, it's just ridiculous. You can't take your eyes off it. It's spicy and totally you don't know what's going to happen one day from the next, and it is not a good representation of lesbian culture, really, because they just pick the most like unhealthy relationship dynamics, and I don't know what these people are.
Well, this is it. When we're talking about our cultural recommendations, we're not necessarily saying us queers are infallible. Some we like some car crash TV as well.
Yes, it takes all kinds to make it work.
Exactly. Yes. Brilliant. So you're going to be hearing a lot more cracking cultural this whole first series of the Proud Craic podcast. So do take those two away to check out. We're now going to move on to one of our final sections, which is finding out about who would we invite to a fabulous big queer dinner party. Now, the guests in this dinner party could be alive, they could be dead, they could be family, they could be friends, they could be famous, anything you want. But basically, who would you take along thinking like, oh, that was the most fabulous queer dinner party because I met.
Then I Rapp,
Ooh.
like, yeah, hands down,
Uh-huh.
I would invite her. I think she's doing great things. At the minute, the content is on point, and it's just really lesbian centric and positive and fun, and the she's been knocking it out of the park. So, she might be my number one. I think she'd be
Fab.
really fun to hang out with. Who's
Yeah.
your number one?
Number one, well, we're in Fringe season, which is Edinburgh Fringe season.
Mm,
Season. uh-huh. And
Protein.
Oh my God. So when I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I'd moved over from Scotland. I'd actually moved over from Edinburgh, where I'd been living for about 8 or 9 years. And this is the first year where I'm not living in Edinburgh for Fringe. Last year, I did a record 101 shows that I went to. Yes, there's personal details as to how I had so much free time and money, but those who know. But yeah, I had a great time. um, and yeah, it's my favorite time of the year. So, do you know, you hear about people talking about Halloween being gay Christmas, which it is, but my general like favorite time of the year is Fringe. I love my family and I love you all for Christmas and Easter and birthdays, no, but from a purely indulgent point of view, yeah, I love Edinburgh Fringe, which leads me to the point of my guest from it is the fabulous and incomparable Reuben Kaye. You have to get to know Reuben Kaye. What words can I use to describe him? He's the most fabulous chanteuse, political advocate, comedian, artiste. Oh my gosh. Sassy, bitchy, devilish. Oh, just you want more and more. So, and he likes a mic, and you'll see what I mean. Anytime you go to one of his shows, yes. Um, so yeah, so it's 18s plus audience is what he caters for. Yeah, for good reason. And he's fantastic. And actually, he does his own show, but he also does a show like a cabaret show, and then that's where people do things with things that you didn't think could be done. And so he kind of like platforms a lot of these things where people can just feel artistically as expressive as they like. So you get to see these really mad things you wouldn't normally see. He does. So, well, I don't know if you come to Newry, but are we potentially teeing up a future Newry Pride? Well, maybe I'll tag him in this, and then he'd be like, "Oh, there's a wee Irish podcast."
Newry's a lovely place to visit. Like, don't just come for Pride and the parade and the surrounding events.
Uh-huh.
The mountains, you're in
That's
like
true.
20 minutes from the Mourne Mountains, Ansleep Gullion, the Ring of Gullion. Got like two outstanding areas of natural beauty just on our doorstep. So
Very true. Yeah.
you can come perform, have a lovely time, and then you take them hiking.
Yes. And I don't know if you'd want to do that,
Okay.
but yeah, he enjoys a drink, like myself. So yeah, so Reuben Kaye would be my guest. So he's from Australia and he's down under, and I think actually this is the first year where he won't be at the Fringe, so I'm gonna miss him. But he's just fabulous, absolutely love him. So that's who my guest would be. Would there be any other guests that you'd bring along to this big dinner party? I call it a big queer dinner party. They don't necessarily have to be queer themselves. But is there anybody else you think you would like to take along?
I did toy with the idea of Ellen DeGeneres as one of my guests, but
Okay.
there's a lot of controversy surrounding Ellen these days, so I don't know if it would be appropriate to have her there, or if I'd just send her packing after a couple of years. To address with her, but
She's a trailblazer, but then yes, there is questionable behavior recently. Yeah. So yeah.
I don't know. As a young person growing up, and there's very little representation on TV, she would have been one of the only ones. And now the image is tainted.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. But interesting dinner party guest though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. Have some deep talks about.
So yeah, so that would be an interesting dinner party. Is there before we wrap up? Is there anybody finally that you would like to take along? Oh my gosh, yes, please do.
I think there'd be a lot of that.
Well, I don't know if you recall me telling you this here a while ago, but I went to see The Importance of Being Earnest in the Lyric Theatre Belfast recently. It was wonderful.
You didn't mention that was part of your gig culture.
Yeah. I didn't mention it again because I think it's finished its run now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. However, it was wonderful. Wickedly funny with the language, the over expressive acting, the just really like sardonic and witty and quippy and just mm, that's right.
I expected to hate it because they usually give you really boring books, and actually loved it. And then went to Oscar Wilde's grave in
Paris.
Père Lachaise. And a little bit of cultural crack for you is somebody has stolen its penis. Shockingly, there's like a big statue on it. They
Poor Oscar.
Somebody has it.
Oh, that's wild. Let's see what we did there. So yeah, I think this dinner party's getting off to a great start. So by the end of the series, we're going to have a lot of people at this dinner party, and if we can make it happen, it'll be wonderful. I know.
Okay.
Raucous. Yeah, the opportunity for this is huge for a number of different characters to get involved. But I just think it's great to find out about people who maybe you'd like to just get to know a bit more and see if they maybe had an influence over you, or whether you want to learn something a bit more about them, or they might just be great crack.
Yeah. You want to mix the both at your dinner party. Like any good party, you need the party animals and then the people who, when you've kind of had enough and you want to sit in a quiet corner and have a conversation, that you have people that are there for that too.
Yeah, and I think I touched on it earlier when I was talking about the Pride movie, but Mark Ashton, I would love him to be there because I get personal.
Do you think he'd be a party animal or a sit in the corner and have a good conversation?
I think would be a party animal, okay. But depending if you got him before you had that maybe second drink, okay. I would just be like, right, your activism is amazing. How you can like bring different cultures together and communities together, and how you can do it really easily, and it's just really inspiring. Also, because he's brought up in Northern Ireland and bringing communities together, there was a lot of parallels with back home, not just with the queer community and the mining community and different parts of society that were unequal. I think I would like to have him back again, but I might get you back on again later in the series if you've had a wee think about what other guests you'd like to bring along, and you'll find out who else we've got there as well.
I'll ponder it and I'll do my research on who would be the best to have.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Jenny.
Thank you for having me once again.
You're very welcome. And that brings us to the end of our inaugural series of the podcast. The first series being the Newry Craic series, which we've had 2 episodes of. And before I leave you, I'm going to hand back to Jenny and ask, is there any calls to action that you would like to put out to people? Keeping in mind this podcast will be going out about mid-August time.
Probably come mid-August. We would love more volunteers for Newry Pride. And just people to come and enjoy themselves at Newry Pride. I think a lot of the legwork will hopefully be done by then. But if you have time and interest in volunteering in any shape or form, we'll be going out handing out flyers and putting up bunting and putting up flags. We have lots of events. There's Pride 5K if you're into a bit of running. There's
Very
like
good.
a literature and poetry night in Finnegan and Sons, a Pride political panel event, and then the main day, the main parade. And we need more registrations for the parade. Like, we'll leave registration open for till the bitter end to let more people come forward and march with us. Because it's really important and fun.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for that. I look forward to, yes, happy Pride. I look forward to walking with Jenny in Newry Pride. I've just bagged myself an invite to walk alongside her. So. And hopefully you can also join us at Newry Pride. If, however, you're listening to us just after Newry Pride, there are loads of ways to get involved and to learn more about what's going on in Newry. Whether you want to get more involved in the local queer community in Newry, Morningdown, or you just want to meet people, please do reach out to myself and also Jenny at Newry Pride. We're going to put all links and everything to all of Jenny's resources. And I am hopefully going to see you on the next series of the podcast, which I'm going to be teasing very soon. So in the meantime, please just, I can't believe I'm actually saying this, please give us a like and a follow. I'm currently on Spotify and YouTube, and look forward to hearing from you soon. So from the next series onwards, I'm going to be inviting your participation. So if you've got any ideas about what we could be doing on the Proud Craic podcast, you'll be able to send them in, and then we'll be able to get a bit of audience interaction going on then. But once again, thanks very much for joining me, and do remember, stay proud.